fall of 1828, Emma and Joseph Smith were living in Harmony, Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Oliver Cowdery was hired as a schoolteacher in Palmyra, New York. Oliver stayed in the home of Joseph Smith Sr., and he asked Joseph Sr. questions about Joseph Jr. Lots and lots of questions. Oliver prayed about what he learned, and he felt that God called him to be a scribe for Joseph. In April 1829, Oliver went to Harmony, Pennsylvania. The day after he arrived, Joseph started translating the Book of Mormon with Oliver as scribe. The next day, Section 6 was received. God had responded to Oliver's request for a testimony of Joseph Smith's work by speaking peace to Oliver's mind. The Spirit had led Oliver to work with Joseph. God promised that if he continued to seek wisdom, Oliver would learn God's mysteries. He was also given a gift that if he desired, he could translate like Joseph. As Joseph and Oliver continued their work, Oliver wanted to play a greater role in the translation process. In Section 8, God taught more about how we learn about spiritual things. The way we gain spiritual knowledge is often different from how we gain knowledge in other matters. So, if we want to learn spiritually, we must use the appropriate methods. This is analogous to how our different senses work. If you want to know what a bird sounds like, you wouldn't cover your ears and try to taste the bird to determine its sound. Nor would you cover your eyes, close your mouth, and try to use your ears to hear what a fruit tastes like. God taught that we learn spiritual things through revelation from the Holy Ghost, which can come to our heart and our mind. God also said that Oliver's ability to translate the plates would come by faith. At some point, Oliver attempted to translate. It did not go well. Following that failed attempt, the revelation in Section 9 broke the bad news that Oliver's opportunity to translate had passed. Instead, he should serve as scribe until Joseph finished the Book of Mormon. The problem was that Oliver only asked and did not put in any effort. If possible, we should study out the question as we ask God for guidance. We can then ask God if our choice is right. If it is right, God will cause us to feel that it is so. If it is wrong, we shall have a stupor of thought, so we forget the thing that is wrong. In the midst of the translation work, Joseph and Oliver discussed the fate of John the Beloved. They asked God and received Section 7. This short section tells us about a time when Jesus talked with John and Peter about what they wanted. Peter asked to come speedily to God's kingdom. John asked to stay and preach on earth until the second coming. When Peter learned about what John was going to do, he second-guessed his own decision. But Christ didn't want him to do that. Christ told him that he had made a good choice. Jesus ends this section by telling Peter, that ye shall both have according to your desires, for you both joy in that which ye have desired. Part of the reason we need revelation is that we all have different journeys. We have different gifts and desires, and so we should not be surprised that we have different ministries in this life. We can use revelation to identify our own personal ministry.